Speaker, Senator Walters.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to give a brief contribution to this important debate. I am happy that Senator Dr. Drakes came before me and gave a lot of clarity to some of the underlying issues that are prevailing when it comes to water and sewage in the country. Mr. President, there was a heated debate this morning when the opposition rose to respond to the resolution before us. Spirited debate. And I want to support a lot of what was said this morning. When a bank approves a loan, it is because they have been furnished with sufficient information to make that determination on if they should pursue the opportunity or not. None of us can walk into the bank or any financial institution or walk out with any sum of money without first substantiating what it is for, how much it is, and the ability to repay. So in other words, there is a plan of some sort that has been prepared and put on the table. Just we don't know where the plan is. Mr. President, what bothered me as I drove down to this debate, as I got into my vehicle and my radio automatically turned on, I heard the Minister of Finance speaking about issues surrounding this resolution. Minutes before this honorable chamber is set to have a discussion on approving the debt to climate swap and to talk about sewage issues, etc. He is on the radio. I did not hear a lot because it's just a short drive here, but he is on the radio giving information around this debate that this chamber does not have access to. Mr. President, how are we called to make decisions, to vote for, against, have educational debates, inform the public, raise issues, and we do not have any information? The document that was made a document of the House today, we have not seen it until this morning. It has not been emailed to us prior. It is not even on the website of Parliament. We have no information. We are left to listen and write quick notes when Senator Blackman gave his presentation. We are left to take pieces of what happened in the other place to make an important decision as this, like this. And then Senator Blackman would say that Barbados is a model of governance. No, Mr. President, I disagree. I disagree. But where is the respect to this chamber that the minister can withhold information as relates to the dealings of this transaction, but is on public radio even before a decision is taken in this House on the resolution? Where is the respect to the chamber and the members of this House? Mr. President, the Honorable Senator Charles Blackman well, I guess some people that you're a cricket fan, they would say he had a long run up. Because he focused in his over an hour and about 15-minute submission, very little on the resolution before us. Yes, I agree with you when you corrected Senator Rowe that he did list some of the things that are in the resolution and so forth. We spent very little time to explain to Barbados what this means. He spent a lot of time talking about the sewage on the streets and how it affected tourism. Facts. I'm not disputing that it was not on the streets. 3 years of flowing on the streets affecting tourism. Between 2016 and 2018, those 3 years, we had 1.9 million stayover visitors in Barbados. In the last 3 years of this government, after COVID, they have 1.6 million visitors in Barbados. So they have a perfect pitch. I can't get the ball played. Those are the facts now. But I'm not here to defend. I'm here to share facts. So, talking about the minister swimming and all this thing, we had more tourists coming to this country with sewage in the street than this government had without. I'm not saying we should have sewage in the street, Mr. President, but I'm just showing you that the government has a long way to go in getting back to some of the industries and some of the things that we had going in this country before they came to office. Mr. President, I'm not doubting the figures, Barbados Statistical Service. But what we are clear of here, Mr. President, is something that the government has kind of played around in this conversation very, very smartly. But what is clear today is that the taxpayers of Barbados will have another loan on the books, on the balance sheet. Because the resolution speaks of $600 million. But as was repeatedly said, the savings will go towards another loan that will be taken out for the capital project that has to be undertaken for the sewage project.
Mr. President,
I want to raise.
I raise on a point of order. I want to ensure that the public is not misled because this loan and the savings are not going to service any other loan. The savings are going to service different things and different infrastructures to build out the capacity of the country. And the nature of what we're debating today, a loan, a swap, it means we're not incurring no new debt at all. I want to make that clear. I've listened and I've enjoyed some of the things that the honorable member has said, but I had to intervene to correct that mistruth. Don't fall down the line of your other colleague. No, you're going well. Talk, but don't mislead people.
Thank you, Senator Lovett. Senator Walters, in my listening, the indication was that the savings would finance the plant, not to go to any loan for the plant.
Okay. Mr. President, allow me to quote the minister in his presentation in the other house. That is very in sync with what Senator Chad Blackman said as well. Yes, I can quote. Yes, I verified. Allow me, sir, and I quote. But of course, sir, we cannot wait 15 to 20 years, sir, to upgrade a plant. Because the plant needs financing to be able to be upgraded, and therefore we have entered into an arrangement, sir, where the savings from this particular transaction that we will see over the course of 20 years, these savings will approximate to roughly $150 million US, sir, and therefore if you accept, sir, over that period of time, we borrow the money up front, sir, to build the plant and related infrastructure, and use the savings to pay off the capital loan that we are going to incur from the IDB and GCF in part. So while the resolution before us today may not convert to a debt increase, the savings that are going to be derived from the transaction will allow us to service a new loan that will be on the books of the balance sheet. So we have established that today, Mr. President. What?
Just to be clear,
Yeah.
I understand, I tell you what you're saying.
Yes.
An old loan is being swapped up for a new loan, which is a separate thing from saying that in addition to that, there'll be a loan to separately finance the sewage plant.
Mr. President, your assistant, Senator Blackman.
No, I'm only assisting the facts. I'm
I
not here.
understand clearly.
I'm not here to assist anyone, Senator Walters.
I am saying to you, sir, that the facts here say that out of this
Here's
transaction.
it. Understand this, Senator Walters.
Sorry.
You're free to make your own interpretation of points, interpretation of facts. I'm just saying, if you're going to if you're going to interpret or reference what Senator Blackman said, you have to say what he says. If you can dispute what he said, and you can come with your own. I'm just seeking to link the two.
Thank you, Mr. President. But I will just repeat what the minister said when he said, and I quote, "We borrow the money up front, sir," and he used the word borrow, the money up front, sir, to build the plant and related infrastructure, and use the savings to pay off the capital loan that we are going to incur from the IDB and GCF in part. So we will have a new loan coming out of this transaction. A new loan in US dollars, sir. So it may be convenient for the government to gloss over that fact and focus only on the potential to repay. But is that good enough when we do not have details of that transaction? Because we can't quantify. No one here can say that the savings will indeed be able to pay off this new loan. The government is now going to tender process next week. We don't know what that is going to result in. We don't know what the tender process is going to look like. We don't know what the bill is. So we can't say with any clarity, sir, that there will not be some additional acts from the citizens of Barbados, because we do not know what it will cost the government to do all this work that was promised. We don't know the exact amount of US dollars that will be borrowed. We don't know the interest and other prepayment terms of this new loan that the minister has said that they will go after coming out of the savings from this. But Mr. President, how long can the government borrow without putting anything in place to earn revenue? If it doesn't, Mr. President, the only other option is taxation to raise revenue. Mr. President, this government asked the citizens of this country, every household and every business in this country, to contribute to fixing the sewage issues that we faced around the period of 2018 and continue to face in some instances. We were asked through our garbage and sewage contribution that households will pay $100.50 per day, of which, Mr. President, 25 cents per day will go directly to rectify sewage issues. Citizens of this country, households in this country, are asking the question now, and I ask on their behalf, how has these funds that have been collected through this contribution been used? We are speaking well over $70 million US dollars since 2018, Mr. President. It is a fair question. It is a fair question because, as was the cry then, we are not, the majority of Barbadians are not connected to the system. Is it under 3%? Only 3% is. But everyone was asked to contribute, businesses and households alike, and that has amounted to over $70 million, and the government has not come to the country and said what they have done with this money. But yet they are asking taxpayers to enter into another loan to deal with the issues of the South Coast sewage project. A new loan that will add to the $14.9 billion in debt that this country is already in. That is more than it was in 2018.
Mr. President, sir, I'd like to raise on a point of order.
What's the point of order?
I want to make it clear again for all those listening and for the Honourable Senator in his presentation to ensure that the public understands that this is not a new loan in any way, shape, form, fashion, anyhow, at all. And to say so or impute otherwise is a mistruth. Untruth, sorry.
Please proceed, Senator.
Mr. President, the new loan and the arrangement for the IDB and the Green Climate Fund of about 110 million US dollars that was spoken about in the other place will be added to the $14.9 billion in debt that the country has as at September 24th, as per the Central Bank of Barbados. And another debt of 54 million US that was made public this morning as well in the media will also be added to that. I must remind the Chamber, Mr. President, that the excess of expenditure over revenue for the period 2004 to 2024 to 2025 is $943 million. The excess of expenditure over revenue, which means that the government has committed spending $943 million more than it will earn. But we are faced continually with an announcement every other week about a new loan that taxpayers will be asked to repay. Mr. President, as I said previously, the government has been crafty in glossing over some salient issues that reside in this resolution. And while this initiative is something that the country definitely needs, we must not ignore these realities. The $600 million in the resolution is refinancing domestic debt. What is domestic debt made up of? Bonds and treasury bills, which have been taken up by who? Banks, insurance companies, or credit unions. The National Insurance and Social Security Service, and normal individuals like you and I, sir. So while focusing on the words high financing debt, the members of this government feel in some way that they're accomplished, while not showing the real unhidden consequences because of who the debt belongs to, who the government borrowed from, or who placed finances at the hands of the government with an expectation to either give interest income to our pensioners, or have an income for yourself, or even have an income for working class people who are members of the credit union. They have not shared, they have not been clear on the implications that this transaction will have on these groups of persons. And if we are being fair, they can share them. It's not about the poor black man, Senator. It is not about the poor black man. It's about if you are bringing, sorry, Mr. President. Mr. President, it is not about the poor black man. It is about, if you are bringing a program to the country of Barbados, it is fair to tell them these are the pros and these are the downsides or these are the cons. There might be a little pain here, you might be disadvantaged here, but this is for the better. You sell it that way, you don't come up here a rosy picture. There's a climate swap, and there's going to be no implications, and you're not going to pay any more, and hiding the fact that there's another loan around the corner, already signed and sealed. Mr. President, there are great unknowns on what is the financial impact of this transaction. What is the financial impact of this restructuring to individuals that have invested? The credit unions who have the monies of working class people, the National Insurance, Security and Security Service, Social Service. And again, I remind the Chamber that in 2018, the government restructured the debt. They will give you reasons and they will defend why they did that. But the implications of that decision was that pensioners in this country were significantly financially impacted. And while this deal might not impact them, have a significant financial impact, it probably does have a financial impact. And it is fair for the government to put that on the table as well. But again, we have no information on what that likely impact would be. We do not, Mr. President. The National Insurance at that time received a blow of about $1.3 billion, and with the domino effect, persons were asked to work longer until pensionable age. And every January we are putting more money as workers to the National Insurance Scheme as well. So these are reasonable questions on behalf of the people of Barbados. Senator Drake painted a great picture, in my view, of the importance of this transaction. But I'm saying, let's see the whole picture. But my caution to the government is that while the deal may seem attractive, the government has to manage its reputation with local investors. Because this is a debt restructuring, again, that will affect local holders of bonds and government securities. So there's likely to be continued loss of confidence in the local market when it comes to investing in government securities if this trend continues, Mr. President. And I am not sold about all of the talk about investor confidence. I shared the last time we were here, Mr. President, that we have not had more foreign direct investment in this country since 2018. Above 2018. And you just go back to the Central Bank to see. We have not had no growth in foreign direct investment under this government.
Mr. President, I like to raise a point of order.
What's the point of order?
Mr. President, to suggest or state that foreign direct investment in this country has not increased, particularly under this administration, is not only untrue, but it is a gross misleading of our great nation and its people. One, the investor confidence in this country has returned in a way unimaginable by the other side. That's one. And two, both in our domestic and external investors, people continue to invest in Barbados in the main way. It is also where you're starting to see increased airlift and people wanting to build hotels and restaurants, including the honorable member. He would know that investor confidence in the retail sector and the hospitality sector has increased. So to come and say to the public that investor confidence and the foreign direct investment has not increased is untrue. It is untrue.
Please continue, Senator Walters. You have 5 minutes. More. Yes. 3:35 to 4:05 will be half an hour. 30 minutes as the Nobody Standard Orders.
Mr. President, if anyone, I don't have the time to pull it up. I encourage those following the debate to go to the Central Bank report Q of September 2024 and look for foreign direct investment, and they will see the line item for direct investment for every year since 2018 has been below that of 2018. So there is no, people continue to invest, yes, the senator is correct, but I'm saying there is nothing above what was there before, and the numbers show that, Mr. President. But Mr. President, in my few minutes, this project, this capital project, we have to look at implementation, because the record of this government when it comes to implementing projects is not good. It's very horrible, actually. 2018, under the last administration, they installed the commencement of the Hyatt Hotel. 6 years on, we have no Hyatt Hotel. In 2018, they saw the project, Sandals project in St. Peter. 6 years on, we have no Sandals, and we have no alternative either. The steel frame homes, years past due, $24 million overrun in housing. Whole project, $60 million in the housing credit fund gone, and very little houses built. Where are the 10,000 homes, Mr. President? Nobody jumping up no points of order, Mr. President. Nobody jumping up points of order, Mr. President. The arrangement between the Co-op Energy Barbados and the government in the agriculture sector is at a stalemate. That is the implementation. Mr. President, they overspend on cricket World Cup. So we got to look at the implementation. We do not know how much this is going to cost the taxpayers of Barbados. You start at 110 million US. You do not have tenders. You got a record of overruns. $24 million overrun in the steel frame houses. $25 million overrun at Kensington Oval. Mr. President, the record is not good. So all I'm saying, Mr. President, is that just be fair to the taxpayers and the citizens of this country, and in the wrap-up, put everything on the table. Let us know what impact it has on those that hold the bonds, especially the credit unions, the individuals, and the persons that contribute to National Insurance and Social Security Service. Mr. President, I've run out of time, but I'm obliged.
Thank you very much, Senator Walters. Thank you.